Okay, how do we find slope on a graph? Huh? How do we find slope on a graph?
Rise over run.
Rise over run. Okay, so essentially we count from the bottom and work our way up. Okay, so we count from this one, and how much do we rise?
It's
1, 2, 3, 4 over 2. Good. Okay, and what is 4 over 2?
2.
It's 2. Okay, so you can either write 4 over 2 or 2. I don't care. Is that a positive or negative slope?
Positive.
It's positive. Good. Okay, find the slope of the line through each pair of points. Listening. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Tay, you need to go to Miss Carpenter's room, or is it Miss or Miss Dirk? So you can take your stuff with you. Put your name on that and put it in the box, so I remember. Okay, find the slope of each line. So we have this formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, and so we can label these x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, and so essentially we're kind of just plugging it in. So I look at my y2, and my y2 is 4 minus my y1, which is 8 over x2 is negative 6 minus x1 is negative 13. Okay, so hit your fraction button on your calculator and type that in. See what you get. Okay, be careful with the negatives. Okay, if it has a negative, you need to make sure you put that or turn it to a positive or something. Okay. Use this one. That's what I'm sending it down. Okay, and what'd you get? Somebody?
Negative 4 over 7.
Somebody agree with that? Is that right? Yep. Okay, good. Okay, so negative 4 over 7. And that's our slope. Okay, write the slope-intercept form. What's slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. What's our m stand for? Slope. And the b is the y-intercept. Okay, and so they gave us both of those things, and all they want you to do is just write the equation. Okay, so we got y equals, and what is our slope? Negative 2 over 5. X plus our y-intercept, which is 2. Okay, the next one, instead, they gave you the equation and they want you to just pick out the pieces, okay? So, what is the slope? What is the slope on there? Negative 3 over 4. Okay, the one thing I'm going to tell you guys from looking at some of your papers yesterday, the slope is not negative 3 over 4x. Okay, the x is part of the equation, it is not the slope. Okay, eventually the further we get, you plug something into the x and then that gives you the y. Okay, so it's just that negative 3 over 4. And the b is going to be negative 4. Okay, so that's what we did yesterday. Okay. Okay, the next page, they want you to graph each one of these. Okay, now, you can look at these and they're all in slope-intercept form, okay, meaning y equals mx plus b. Okay, and so you have to graph these in a very specific order, and I realize that some of you guys are bad at graphing, so I will try to explain the best that I can. Okay, so we always, step one would be to plot the y-intercept, okay? The y-intercept is essentially, if you're thinking of like, and I don't know the exact football terms, okay, but if I go to throw something to Ian, and, I don't know someone else's name, Faith goes to jump in and she grabs my pencil, okay, she intercepted that. And so we wanna know that always goes on the y line. It's called the y-intercept. And so essentially it's where the line crosses the y line. Okay, and so our y-intercept is -4, and so we're gonna plot that. Okay, you always plot the y-intercept first. And then from the y-intercept, you do the slope. Okay, now, you need to think logically about this. Is our slope positive or negative? Okay, so we're gonna rise 1. Okay, so from here, you're gonna rise 1 and go over 2. But you need to think, and that's the hardest part for kids, is which way do you go over 2? To the left or to the right? Okay, well, when we're doing the right, when you can go up, okay, it's really easy, but when you guys have to go down is when you guys get a little mixed up. So, this slope is positive, which means I need my line to go this way, okay? So obviously I have to go up 1 and over 2 this way, okay? Now, some teachers would say, well, plot 3 or 4 points, okay? As long as you plot the 2, I'm okay with it. Okay, I don't care, your line doesn't have to be perfectly straight, because I know that you got the gist of it as long as you plotted those 2 points. Okay, so if we're looking at 11, what's our y-intercept? We need to plot that first. It's at 5, so go to the y line and go to 5. Okay, and what is the slope? 2 over 1. Okay, so there's nothing underneath of it, and so you can draw a 1 underneath of it. Okay, so you rise 2. Can we rise 2? No, you can't, which means this is where it gets kind of tricky. So you have to go down 2, okay, for sure. Now, we're going to go down to, which way do we go over 1? Okay, I need a positive slope. So does my line need to go this way or this way? So it needs to go this way. So we're going to go down 2 for sure. And obviously, like according to my hand, then I'm going to have to go back 1. Okay, and worst case, if you go over 1 this way and you draw your line and you're like, oh shoot, that's a negative line, just erase it and go over 1 the other way. Okay. Okay, 13, our y-intercept is at 3. And our slope is what? What's our slope? 4 over 1. Okay, can we rise 4? No, so we're gonna have to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're gonna have to go over 1. Which way do I need to go over 1? To the left or to the right? To the left. Okay, and then the last page, they gave you the line and they want you to write the slope-intercept form. Okay, so the same way that we graph it is the same way that we're gonna find it graphed. Okay, so you're gonna mark the point on the y line. Okay, essentially the y-intercept. Okay, so go to the y line and find where it crosses first. Okay, and these are the ones that I think where kids struggle the most, because you guys will just pick a random point and you need to pick the next closest point. Otherwise, you're going to have to reduce your fraction. Okay, so your step 2 essentially is to find the next closest point, okay, to that dot. Okay, so kind of take your finger and follow that line. Okay, we cannot pick this point. Okay, you can't pick like right here. Okay, because what is that number? You don't really know. Okay, it needs to be on equal crosshairs, meaning like it's got to go through like a check mark somewhere, not a check mark, but like exactly on the box. Okay, and so your next closest point is going to be right here. Okay, some of you guys may have picked this one. The reason that you can't pick that one is because then when you count your rise over run, it would be like 4 over 2 or something. I don't know what that one's going to be. It's going to be 4 over 2. And 4 over 2 is really 2, and then you don't have the reduced fraction that you need on these ones. Okay, so we've got our 2 points, and now essentially you can just write your equation. Okay, so your equation is going to look like, I'm going to write mine over here, y equals, and what's my slope? We're going to go up 2 and over 1. So we got 2 over 1 x plus my y-intercept. What's my y-intercept? Negative 4. Okay, and if you write y equals 2x, that's totally fine too, because it's the same thing. 2 over 1 is 2. Cross off 17. You don't have to do it. Okay, don't do me this, though. Don't cross me off a little, like cross it off big, because then if my intern grades it or something, then I must forget. What's that thing?
Would 15 be negative 2 for the slope?
15. No.
The one you just did. That's 16. That's 16.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, it is a negative 2. Good catch, bud. Why is it a negative 2? Yeah, okay, so the line is negative. So, yes, it is a negative 2. Thank you. Okay, so 19. You're going to mark your y-intercept first. Okay, and then find the next closest point. Where's the next closest point at? Take a second, find it, mark it, something. Okay, the next closest point should be right here. It's your only option. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and fill out our, so you got y equals, what's our slope? How much do you rise, how much do you run? It's 3 over 4. Okay, so it should be 3 over 4 x plus 3. Is that a positive or a negative line? It's a negative line, so make sure that you put your negative. It does not matter, and I think we talked about this yesterday, if you put the negative here on the 4, right out front, another fraction, they're all the same thing as long as you only put 1. Okay, and then 21, mark your y-intercept. 21 y 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 21 And then we're gonna mark our next closest point and just follow the line until you find it. Okay, and this one's kind of hard because it's a very steep line. Okay. So we got y equals, our slope is gonna be 7/1 plus 5. Is that a positive or a negative line?
Positive.
It's a positive line, okay? And so you can just circle it. If you said y equals 7x plus 5, that's totally fine too. Okay, you guys have 11 problems to do. All of the evens, when you get done, make sure you set it on top of the box because you guys are first period.